We've got a lot of talk about 23K Bitcoin still being in play. The debt deal may not be as good, and the markets are still pumping at the moment, but we need to dive straight into it. Real quick, Bitcoin halving, 321 days, 17 hours. That's my time frame there, 24, 25. In the short term, there's a lot of headwinds going on. Peter Schiff, love him or hate him, has come out and he's talking a lot of sense in this video. We've got actually quite a lot to cover today. This is going through everything that we need to go through this morning. A lot of people think 4 trillion pumping into the markets, it's going to be good. May even take 2 to 4 trillion out of the markets by the way that they get the money, how the US government gets the money from the Fed. It is all a farce. So let's just read a couple of things here. The proposal fails to address the already inflated budget, allowing rises in several budget areas without supervision, which could increase the US national debt by at least 4 trillion in the next 2 years. Show you the debt clock in a minute. Absolute insanity. The deal to raise the debt ceiling allows military and entitlement spending to increase and only caps discretionary spending at 23 levels for 2 years. The real problem is not the debt ceiling, but the debt that will continue to increase. The reason the President McCarthy agreed to suspend the debt ceiling rather than to raise it is to ensure the debt doesn't hit the ceiling during the 2-year period. So achieving this by way an increase would require a record 5 trillion hike, far too embarrassing to vote for. Peter finishes it up. And finally, if finally approved, the proposed debt deal would also postpone further debt discussions until after the next US presidential election. Jumping onto the debt ceiling here, US national debt, 31 trillion, 5 trillion on top of that. It's nearing 37 trillion as well. But if we jump over, we can see the markets are over 1.2 trillion. I want to jump into the charts very shortly and show you a couple of things, but we're at 27,658 at the moment. And I'll talk about why 23K Bitcoin could still be in play. And short term, I don't trade short term. I'm looking out in the long term. Every dip is a buying opportunity. For me, you need to do you. Obviously, this video, it's not financial advice. So just want to talk about a couple of good things and then some bad things. We'll jump into the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart. This is the good things, and this is helping the market pump at the moment. Ethereum Bitcoin balances on exchanges edge towards 5-year lows. So the amount of ETH on centralized exchanges has hit nearly a 5-year low, with 17.8 million ETH on exchanges. The sum represents 14.85% network's total supply, which is significantly less than the peak value of 30% reached in the summer of 2020. Bitcoin stats, they're pretty much the same, with the cryptocurrency exchange balance dropping to levels not seen since March 2018 at just above 2.3 million Bitcoin. Carrying on, the latest decline in the Ethereum balance on exchange in May also coincides with the rise in staking. I want to show you a couple of charts very shortly. The amount of staked ETH surged from 9.3 million before the Shapella upgrade to 21.2 million, rising vertically since the start of May. Bitcoin price 27,658, $536 billion, you can see there. Yesterday on news, it just absolutely pumped. We have come back down. We are trending sideways. If we can hold above 27.6, 27.4 and close there, absolutely great. If not, we may have further downside, and this rally may not last long. Obviously, there's the China narrative going on as well. This chart here, and I'll sum it all up in a second as well. Shout out to everyone watching live. Smash the like button if you can. Hopefully you're having a good evening, good day, good night. Top line here, Bitcoin price is up. Bottom line here, Bitcoin balance. Hopefully you can see that nice and clearly, everyone. Maybe a little bit easier to see there if I zoom in for you. So it is down the lowest it's been pretty much at least a year. And that's good to see. So that's helping it. Less Bitcoin on exchanges, the easier it is for the price to run. But we've got a few things to go over. That's the market. summed up in pretty pictures with little bubbles. Jump into the band of bubbles. You can jump in there. You can see why they're pumping, why they're dumping. I've pretty much got a rule. If they're green, I don't buy. If they're red and I like the play, maybe it's a good time to stack up. Couple of headwinds, and then we'll tie all this together. So another dormant Ethereum wallet awakens after 8 years, moving millions. This is crazy. 8,000 ETH is on the move. Its owner acquired the tokens during the Ethereum ICO in 2015 when each ETH was worth only 31 cents. I remember it at like $84. I think that was Australian, but 31 cents. Wouldn't that be nice? So it's been inactive since 2015. After 8 years of dormancy, moving a total of 8,000 ETH in just 2 minutes. It's worth approximately 14.7 million at time of writing. Be a little bit more, I think, as well right now because the price is up. So the new wallet address is also one with little in the way of any significant transaction history. The only other ETH transaction recorded in the new wallet, 207 ETH incoming transaction that was made just a few minutes prior to the most recent transfer. Notably, the additional 207 ETH were sent from another wallet that had remained completely inactive since June 12, 2017. Dormant wallets, and keep this in mind, with vast sums of crypto can awaken for a variety of reasons. Sometimes dormant wallets reawaken because they've been hacked. Other times it's simply because the owner may have forgotten about it and upon its rediscovery have decided that it's possibly a good time to sell. Another reason being there as well, maybe they just want to move cold wallets. Some people said there the person's gotten out of jail and they've woken up to a big stash of Ethereum, or maybe they've moved it off their ledger as well. We'll keep you updated with that. You can see Ethereum, it's doing real well. It is below 1900, but it's at 1889 at the moment. Pumped up massively, and this is due to low liquidity on the weekend, low balances on the exchange, and it is trending sideways at the moment. This is an amazing website, and I can probably bring it up better for you here. It's a dashboard for ETH, and it shows you what's going on with everything. Here, there's one chart that I wanted to bring up here for everybody. So ETH locked, 21,600,000 pretty much. Deposits and withdrawals in the last 24 hours, 4,574. ETH staked average price is 2,097. That was an hour ago as well. ETH deposits and withdrawals, this is the 7 days. So this purple line here that you can see going up over the last 7 days is the total locked. Deposits, blue line there. Principal is the really dark blue line, and the rewards you can't really see on there. People that are locking up are probably holding for the long term. So we'll see what happens with that. We are getting to why 23 Bitcoin could still be in play, and it's neither good nor bad. It is what it is. You need to make up your own trading decisions. That's no worries. Just know what your time frame is and what your plan is if we do get a very substantial drop coming up, especially with this China narrative that's ongoing at the moment. They say the 1st of June, but there's no licensed exchanges yet with China, with Hong Kong. So people need a way to be able to get in and get out. 1st of June could be a nothing burger. Long term for the bull run 2024, when we come to the next Bitcoin halving, 321 days, we'll be looking pretty. A lot of liquidity coming into the market at that stage, but we're not there yet. And what's your time frame? Let us know in the comments below. Are you a short-term trader or a long-term holder? And I can make sure I construct more information for you depending on where you sit in that camp. So this sums up everything pretty clearly in crypto at the moment. And this is why it may, even though the Bitcoin presidential candidates are providing a lot of airtime for Bitcoin, it may not be the best, but it's also good in a way. They say all news is good news. I maybe disagree with that statement. Sometimes, but we'll jump into this. So striving for the impossible reasonable crypto debate. Debates in crypto are increasingly polarized and politicized. What should be a detached technical discussion on the pros and cons of policy options is now laden with emotion and exaggeration. The upshot being that real public understanding the technology's promise and perils seem even less attainable. The result is a society that's incapable not only of compromise, but of even allowing space for an informed examination of the facts. We know that on crypto Twitter, especially, we live in all this bubble. My news feed is just Bitcoin and Pepe. For some reason, I've no interest in Pepe. I think it probably will pump many times over like Doge has in the past. And we start to live in an echo chamber here. And when we can zoom out, we can see the good and the bad. Then we can make proper risk mitigation strategies. If you are enjoying the content, hit subscribe. We'll carry back on. And let us know where you are around the world. Okay, so the good, and then we'll get into the bad and possibly the ugly, and we'll sum this up. So the debt ceiling bank crisis set for powder keg explosion. BitMEX co-founder, former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes, believes it will cause significant volatility in Bitcoin as well, suggesting it won't likely reach a new all-time high this year. Pretty sure that's a given there. Obviously, we know there will be a rate hike. I think that's on the 15th coming up. Definitely getting a rate hike again, and we may not get a correction or a removal of the rates. So it'll probably just stay high for longer, as Powell said. So expecting to see significant Bitcoin volatility in the later half of the year caused by a powder keg explosion from the United States banking crisis and soaring national debt. I would put money on another bank at least is going to fail in probably the next 3 or 4 months. And maybe it's more than that, hopefully nothing. I think the Fed is trying to push everyone into the top 4 banks, which long term, I think may be okay for crypto, but we really need to zoom out far with that. And I'll dive deep into the Fed, the World Economic Forum, and what's going on behind the scenes there, because it could be really good for Bitcoin, possibly Ethereum as well. They just need a little bit more control. So notably, Hayes said that he expected the original cryptocurrency not to reach 70,000 mark until 2024, which is fair. My prediction, 32, 34 end of year. Maybe we push up into the low 40s, but it is going to be a very volatile year. It's just where we are in the Bitcoin cycle. So I don't think we get up to 70K this year. I think next year is when we cross that barrier. Then we get the blow off top 25, 26, and then it's Armageddon. 24, 25, like the later half, 24, 25, that's when I'll be paying close attention to the charts and start with my dollar cost average out strategy, taking profits. So increasing the money supply and broader social disquiet is the primary 2 drivers of such an event, which could cause drastic decline in the price of equities and cryptocurrency. While I think ultimately it will be good for Bitcoin, it could be quite volatile on the up and the downside. Hayes is well known, though, for making outsized price predictions. Everything that Hayes says, I say take with a grain of salt. It's just all data sets to be able to form your worldview going forward. In April 2020, he did warn that the Bitcoin price could potentially plummet 57%, falling from 7K to 3K. However, Bitcoin held steady and rallied 28% to 9K in the following 3 months. So keep that in mind with these price predictions here. But summing all that up, he is talking a lot of sense here. Obviously, with his debt deal, a couple of good things came out of it. Warren Davidson did get the Bitcoin mining excise tax, which was the Dame, is off the table. Huge kudos, Warren Davidson, for taking the time to engage in social media and for being one of the few that understands Bitcoin. Give him a follow. It's done really well with that, which may be good for mining in the US. I know Collective Finance are probably looking into some mining as well. So make sure you check those out over in the States. Bitcoin erodes 4% gains as Bitcoin price downside target stretched to 23K. Now, This is just information. You can either like it or not, agree or not. It doesn't matter. The charts at the end of the day are going to show what it is. But we do want to know what is possible with 23K. Shout out to Benny, Custom Games Mod. Good to see you in the chat. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, drop us a like. Let's talk about 23K Bitcoin. So a spike above 28,000 begins to fade as the new week begins. We did see that on the Bitcoin chart, and I'll bring it back up here. 28,350, I think it was, 28,96. So, or 355. That's absolutely fantastic to see. But we've come back quite a lot since then, about $600 odd. If we don't consolidate here and go sideways for a while, we may have further to fall. Short term, I'm not really interested. They're good stacking opportunities. But if you are looking to take profits, watch the charts. And if we start pulling back down, especially 25.4, which had been saying on the channel for a very long time, if we go below that, we are going to drop substantially. And that's how 23K comes into play. So popular trader, Crypto Tony, called a move back to as low as 23,000, still very much a possibility, and everything's a possibility. It just depends on the probability of it. Couple of things with the Dixie here. So the US dollar strength continued to play out in a trend that formerly spelled significant headwinds for crypto asset performance. With the current trend forming something of an exception, Bitcoin brushed off a trip to 104.5 for the US dollar index, the latest high since mid-March. It could still come up. Maybe they're talking about it getting rejected at 105.80. I think we'll get into that in a sec just here. So the dollar has bounced lovely since the double bottom put back in April. Crypto Tony added about the index. My area of resistance I expect us to reject from is coming up at 105.80. Over the next few months, though, I do expect a strong dollar, but to roll over into the next year. Strong dollar, Bitcoin price will be lower, potentially gold. The rest of the crypto market caps obviously following the big daddy Bitcoin there. So just keep that in mind. If the dollar continues to gain strength, that's potentially a really large headwind. But I do see it rolling over towards the end of the year. The sooner it rolls over, the better. So the 4 trillion, it's not going to get injected into the market with the debt ceiling. But what happens is they need to sell bonds, which sucks liquidity out of the markets. And that's given to the US government, that money there. They can spend that. They need to pay that back with interest. But that's beside the point. It's not until QE starts happening or everyone starts feeling wealthy and money starts sloshing around that we are really going to see that. Long term, it's absolutely fantastic. And I'll bring it up one more time. 321 days. Banks between now and then are probably going to collapse. They may need to start QE back up again. The timing is set to absolutely perfect for the next bull run after the Bitcoin halving. Supply shock, China coming in, money printer will probably start back up. All these things are a catalyst for a huge 24, 25. But right now in 2023, you need to have a game plan written down because it could get wild really, really quickly, very volatile. I mean, I don't worry about the ups or the downs. I find it interesting. They're pretty pictures, the charts during 2023. The lower they are, the more I can stack, the higher it is. I just sit back and wait. If it pumps up really quickly, maybe take a little bit of profits. You need to do you, I'll do me. John Carter, shout out. Hello, g'day. I hope you are doing well, brother. Always Benny and Games Mod. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have a very beautiful day. Hit subscribe if we vibe. Oh, incredible interview tomorrow with an OG that's been in Bitcoin since 2010. He owns the standard.io. His name's Joshua. Fascinating guy. I can't wait to bring that chat live to you with him. Someone that's been in crypto since 2010. That's phenomenal. I'm sure he's got some more stories to say and can probably give us his thoughts going forward, because he's been through these cycles many times before. So we'll see you there. Hit subscribe. Have a beautiful day. Peace.